It's the Dow's Report channel. 108. It's the one channel you need to watch. No child is 6. The channels you watch, the channel I see. Not here to impress, only to express. It's Monday, the 19th of June, 2023. It'll soon be Christmas 2025 and Easter 2030 as they roll out the Great Reset. And it's coming full steam ahead. We're in the lull before the storm, but will they succeed? Will they succeed? That is the question, isn't it? I'm sat in my studio today. This is my studio. I don't often broadcast my studio these days. I'm usually out and about in different places on location, but I'm in my studio today. This is my studio. It's a pleasant evening. It's a pleasant June evening, and it's beautiful. It's the solstice the day after tomorrow. I'm going to talk about my favourite pop bands. No, I'm going to talk about No More Heroes. Hugh Cornwell. It came to my attention that Hugh Cornwell's a big fan of Trotsky, Leon Trotsky, the communist murderer that used to traverse across the big red leaf of Russia. And in the line No More Heroes that he'd done on the No More Heroes album, funny enough, and the song No More Heroes, whatever happened to all of the heroes, all the Shakespeareos, Leon Trotsky. Anyway, he mentions Leon Trotsky, and I thought it was satirical, but it turns out, it came to my attention that he's actually a great admirer of Leon Trotsky, you know. Fucking murdering cunt going around Russia with his death train, burning towns and villages down that don't comply to the Bolshevik regime, you know. And he got a high, what was it? Leon Trotsky, he got an ice pick that made the news burn. Whatever happened? And I thought that was a fucking satirical note. And then he did an album with Robin Williams out of Captain Beefheart, and he did a song called what was it called? Big Bug. Across the big red leaf, big bug, big bug. Hooty and Judy boys in the right place at the right time. Derailed has failed. Derailed has failed. And he goes like, across the big red leaf, big bug. Anyway, I can't remember the whole song, but it's in relationship to that train that goes across. It's called the Big Bug, and he talks about this train going across this bug, which is a train going across this big red leaf, which is Russia, Soviet Russia. And then at the end of that song, he says, "Out popped a fly." The big bug curled and rested after eating squirreled. Out popped and out popped and out popped a fly. Now I can understand that Hugh Cornwell of the Stranglers is a great, and they all are. The Clash with Marxists, Jam, Paul Weller, all red Marxist types, you know. Pretty much a lot of these so-called rebel bands were all Marxists. They're all into the red agenda. And then you've got Killing Joke, of course. I mean, I used to love all these bands, man. I was a punk back in the day, and I fucking loved I loved the Stranglers. I was a big Stranglers fan. I was a big Killing Joke fan. And Killing Joke, of course, you know, Jazz Coleman. That whole story about the cover story. I love these cover stories. It was queuing up. It was down at Ladbroke Grove Dole office, queuing up to sign on the dole. He'd just come from Cheltenham. He's from Cheltenham, right? And he was queuing up at the dole office, and he met Paul Ferguson, who's the drummer of Killing Joke. The two met up and they just started chatting. They just happened to be into occultism and you know, geometrism and numerology and astrology and all that sort of stuff. They just so happened to be, and they just so happened to say, let's start a band, eh? Let's start a band. And they signed on the dole, started a band. They were living in this flat. They did this whole occult ritual. It was showed on this Amazon documentary called the Death and Resurrection show about Killing Joke, you know. And they actually explain how they did this whole, they did the whole five pentagram on the floor, put all the symbols and everything else in it, did the whole shebang, rituals and incantations, all the rest of it. This is what they say, and they set the fucking flat on fire because what they wanted to do was summon 2 more members to the band. There was only 2 of them at the moment, who just so happened to be into occultism, and and Paul Ferguson, you know, talks like he's got a fucking silver spoon in his mouth, you know, and Jazz Coleman, his great granddad, was just happened to be a great military leader in India who fought against the British, the Pandys. He was called Pandy, and he fought the British in the Indian Mutiny back in the 1850s. But he was fighting for the Indian cause, of course. But we know all these different warring factions are being controlled by the same people, aren't they? Same puppets. I'll tell you, I'm running out of time now. So much I wanted to say, and I've got so much little time saying. So anyway, Geordie and Youth turned up in the band, didn't they? They turned up with Killing Joke. They magically turned up after they did that sacrifice, where they almost, that pentagram ritual, where they almost set this flat on fire. And incidentally, Jazz Coleman said he got the name of Killing Joke from a guy from the Tavistock Institute. As you do, in a pub one day. As you do. So, no more heroes, eh? No more heroes. So yeah, the whole music industry, all that, it's all dark occult, it's all red, it's all communism, it's all Bolshevism, it's all tiny hats. Tiny hats, remember the tiny hats? They're the ones, aren't they?